Hey, Ayn Rand, here we are with Atlas Shrugged. I remember years ago, probably in the 90s, I was reading in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and they had a list of the main leaders of America and the books that had the most impact on them. And number one was the Bible. Number two was Atlas Shrugged. Now, I'm thinking to myself, I'm probably in my 20s at the time, I'm like, I have never heard of Atlas Shrugged. But if it's influencing all these people, I want to read Atlas Shrugged. So this is 50th anniversary edition, $9.99. I'm sure I bought it for 50 cents at Goodwill or some other place. And so Ayn Rand was somewhat of a libertarian. I know, like Alan Greenspan used to kind of follow Ayn Rand. And so she was an objectivist philosopher. And basically what she taught is self-sufficiency and radical self-sufficiency. She was an atheist, to my knowledge. And so this book is all about self-sufficiency. And you have Dagny Taggart, who is basically the main character in the book, but then you have Henry Reardon with Reardon Steele. And what happens is she came from the Eastern Bloc, so she kind of saw this happening over there. Socialism creeping in the bureaucracy, and how you needed lobbyists and all this. And like Reardon's like, I make great steel, I don't need a lobbyist. And so they kept making all these laws against Reardon steel. And so one time, like the government said Reardon steel better than regular steel, that they had to come and take it for the public good. And he said, if you want to steal from me, you're stealing. It's all this. And I think that's one reason that people really like this book, is because America is kind of built on individualism, Emerson and the Wild West and ruggedness and, all of these kind of things. And so it just has a real appeal. And then you have the famous phrase, who's John Galt? And Galt had developed this engine that was going to transform the world. But he basically hid the engine, and they created this place like out in the Rockies where all the real smart people could go, and there was a shield so people couldn't see them. And because they said the end result of socialism, it's like Margaret Thatcher said, eventually you spend everybody else's money. So they were like, the lights are eventually going to go out in America. And that's what was happening. And because the socialists were just looking for what else could they steal? What else? Somebody else's invention or somebody else's productivity. And so when all the producers went into hiding, the socialists were like, we have nothing left to steal. And Dagny Taggart with the railroad and all of this, and she was like the last holdout, or one of the last, really fighting for capitalism and freedom and all this. So it's an amazing book. And even like towards the end, when they're trying to torture, I forget if they're trying to torture Galt or Reardon, because it's been years now. But they're torturing one of them, trying to get him to talk, and he won't talk. And so she's trying to get in to rescue him. And so the socialist person, Dagny Taggart has a gun and says, open the door. And he says, I've been told not to. And she says, well, I told you to, and I got a gun, I'm going to shoot you. Do you obey your orders, or do you obey this gun? And so just the indecisiveness of the bureaucracy and everything, I think she ends up shooting the guy to get in. But so it's had a huge impact, and I know, she ended up dating one of her students. Some people say maybe she was into homosexuality, lesbianism, whatever the case is there. But I used to have like her whole, I can't remember the name of her student that she dated, who But there's still people who really like Atlas Shrugged, and it's had this enormous impact on people. And I've seen like old interviews with her, and she's like, she's real hardline. So there you have it. At one time, the book that influenced the second most number of leaders in America, Atlas Shrugged. She's got Fountainhead out. She's got all kinds. I'm thinking Anthem, We the Living. I've got all these books. I have not read them. Like, she's got one, The Virtue of Selfishness. So this is going to be antithetical to Christianity. And she's got a statement of her artistic credo, the Romantic Manifesto. But it's going to have elements that are very appealing to many Christians as well. So, you may want to read it. God bless. Talk with you later in Jesus' name.